Hey, you guys. Happy Monday. I am so excited to be with you guys today. Today, we're going to talk about posturing your business and creating value as really a marketing strategy in your business. So, I was so excited to have the chance to meet Kathy Cooper a few weeks ago. I'm going to share few little tidbits from that conversation. And then I had the opportunity to meet and interact with, really via Zoom, Jessica Rigner. She is a millionaire within our company. You were at Isagenix Celebration last year in Nashville. She trained from the stage. And she shared so many golden nuggets with me that reminded me of the power of posture in our business. So we're going to talk about what that looks like. And I'm going to read to you guys two statements that these two amazing women shared with us. So be sure that you're taking notes because there was really powerful reminder of how to really posture Isagenix. So the first one was, it would help if I had it in front of me. I'm like not on the right page. That's awesome. You guys are like, and it doesn't take a lot. Okay, here was the first one. I'm looking for some motivated people with a burning desire to change their life. I'm looking for some motivated people with a burning desire to change their life. You guys, does that sound super different than I'm looking for people interested in a cellular cleanse? And then the second one was, this came from Jessica. That first one was from Kathy Cooper. That is how she always presented herself. I'm looking for some motivated people with a burning desire to change their life. Is that you? And Jessica Rigner, this was hers, you guys, which was the lead-in, was, you're the exact kind of person I'm looking for. You tend to know people like you. Okay, so let's talk about that one in particular. Because basically, she is removing the pressure from the situation by saying, you tend to know people like you. Because in this, she's posturing saying, I'm not sure if this is for you. But you tend to know people just like you, and I'm looking. You're the exact kind of person I'm looking for. You're the exact kind of person I'm looking for. You tend to know people like you. It is like the ultimate way to give somebody a compliment to gauge if they're interested in the business. And if not, seed referrals. And I wanted to talk about these two things because both of them are postured in such a powerful way. And I think that, every time I'm on a call with Meredith and Christina, even I've had the chance to get to know Christina really well over these last few months, posture is everything. Because people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. Yes, we know this. People are seeking confidence. And somebody doesn't say, I'm looking for some motivated people with a burning desire to change their life, without having some level of confidence to back that up. And here's the key, you guys. You can't say that in text. If you literally sent that via Facebook message to 20 people, you would be the person they're complaining about on their Facebook post saying somebody spammed me, right? Like, this is so gross and disgusting. I think I saw 5 of those messages on Facebook this morning. This is about, they need to hear it in your voice. You need to be so connected to them and so in tune with who they are and why they'd be good at your business. And then you need to power punch it. You guys, I am looking for some motivated people with a burning desire to change your life. Do you know anyone like that? It's so different in the way that you say it than the text. It will sound spammy if you type it out. If you say it with your voice, it sounds completely and totally different. And posturing, honestly, if I could look at that executive retreat weekend I was on, and it was Kathy Cooper on Friday, and it was Jessica Rigner on Saturday, the 1-2 punch of the whole weekend was posture. No one can tell either of these two women that there is any better opportunity out there, that there is any better company to be aligned with, that you just can't. And they show up that way in their posture. And if you don't have that kind of posture right now, then your goal is to plug them into a leader, a leader that has that kind of posture or events where that kind of posture exists. Because I will tell you that I have a girl on my team who's an executive, and we were together and she was like, yeah, I kind of remember how it was really weird how you talked to me about Isagenix initially. And so we were together. We literally scrolled back like 5 years worth of Facebook messaging. I can't even believe it like still is there. We scrolled all the way back. She was like super interested in Isagenix. She sent me this great note about how interested she was, how she could see I was doing this whole thing and whatever. First of all, I sent her, and Meredith will remember this, Jason Liu had like a 65-minute like opportunity, like, you know, it was like this huge message with a link to like a 65-minute call, you guys. She did not watch it. She did not watch it. Okay, so she said nothing. She didn't respond. And then like 2 weeks later, my message in DM was to her, hey, if you're bored tonight, this call is happening. You should dial in, but only if you have time. Do you think she got on the phone? No. So you guys, that's from a posturing perspective. Like, if you're bored, if you think you might have time, like, no. And she didn't end up enrolling in Isagenix for 3 years, like 3 years later when she enrolled. And I look back on that, and yes, I was learning, and I give myself grace and all that. But what we can learn from that is posturing. Like, if I had showed up with confidence, she would have enrolled then. And she told me that. She's like, I was so confused, like what you were doing and what you were offering. And she's like, I wasn't bored. She's like, I got 4 kids at home. I'm not in a full-time job. I'm not bored and dialing into your call. Like, no, but if I had said, I have seriously, Amy, a life-changing opportunity. Like, you've got to find 30 minutes to get on this call tonight. She would have gotten on the call. Okay. So there's such a huge difference in posturing alone. Now, the Jessica Rigner thing, if you saw her at Celebration last year, she talks about how she had made a decision that she was going to message every single one of her Facebook friends. If you saw her training from the main stage on Celebration, and she did it. She went through her Facebook friends list and she literally messaged everyone. Now, she will tell you, like, she basically said, she thinks there are two reasons that our industry that pain her about our industry right now. So 2 reasons. One, she feels like our industry is killing social media. So she's like, a place that was meant to be community driven and connecting, our industry is killing it. And she said the other thing that pains her right now, looking at our industry, is that people are getting into opportunities that they don't understand, and they don't understand their comp plans. So she said, yes, I did train on Celebration stage because she said it was relevant at the time, where she could still feel like she could confidently reach out to people blindly. And you guys, that was August. We're not talking about years ago. And she said, it's just not the same now. She's like, I would never recommend somebody do that now. So you have to know too, right? The relevance of the training from August to now has changed. And I think that's really important. But I will say she did train on this verbiage. You're the exact kind of person I'm looking for. You tend to know people just like you. Or if that's not who they are, maybe because she's like, I don't ever lie, right? If they're not that kind of person, then it's some level of compliment and leading them into their level of interest. Now, she says, which many of you on this call I know have experienced, that her biggest business builder, I believe right now in her business, came over from Rodan and Fields, and fairly recently. And she says, you know, like, lots of people get really frustrated when other network marketers reach out to them. And she said that, and this is segueing into the other section of our topic today, which is about creating value. She said, if another network marketer reaches out to me, she's like, my job is not to shame them, is not to tell them that my company is better than theirs, is not to like meet with them to talk about the comp plan so I can tell them our comp plan is so much better. She said, that is my one opportunity to show my value. And this is where she is using value propositioning as her marketing tactic. So what does that mean in outside of marketing terms? That means that she is always finding a way to serve others. so that if they decide they don't want to enroll with her, or they don't want to convert teams, they're happy with the team that they're on, they're going to leave that meeting and they're going to be a fan of hers because she has not attempted in a gross or spammy way to convert them over. So now that leads to the question of, so how did she get a business builder that was building in Rodan and Fields to move to Isagenix, right? So she says that one of the things that she says when they start to discuss compensation plans, this is not a line that she leads with, but I think it's a powerful one. Other companies are paying in culture. And some of you are like, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some companies are paying in culture. We have both. We are paying you in money and in culture. And I think that's really important because if you are talking to other people in network marketing, you're going to understand this. This is like the people that are in your life that they're literally maybe making $50 a month and they are posting about their product and their company all day, every day. They're going to every company event. They are raving fans, their bumper stickers, their gear, their everything. And you're like, wow, you are doing all of that for $50 a month. Like, have you guys met people like that? Because I have. And this is what she says. These companies are paying in culture. And we have to bring it to the surface that we have both culture and pay. And she says, which I know that, Meredith will resonate with, which is like, we have to shed big, bold, bright spotlights on people that are making $10,000 to like $50,000 in our opportunity. She's like, the six-figure earners, the millionaires, that's great. But where the magic is, you guys, is in the people making anywhere. I mean, not that anything below 10,000 is not also equally amazing, but like, if we can show people how to make add an extra 10 grand to their, annual budget, that means something to people. So how can we shine the spotlight more on those people making 10 to 15,000? Okay, so to shift back, how to create value when you are interacting with another network marketer. So she says, number one, she always tries to schedule an in-person appointment if they are around us. And she's like, when she met with the girl from Rodan and Fields, she said the girl thought she was prospecting me. Like, she thought I was coming to a prospecting appointment. And she's like, that's fine. She can think that. Her belief in her posture is steadfast. That's not wavering. There's no level of culture or bonuses or purses or anything that could waver that. So she goes into the meeting and her whole thing, you guys, is all about asking questions. So she says, like, the way she creates value is by asking questions and offering advice based on what she knows. And she's like, a lot of people feel like, oh, well, if you join my team, I'll share my system. Or if you do this, I'll help you. And she's like, you miss it. You miss that it's in the value that you build the trust that then they decide they want to join you, right? It's not even about convincing. So here are some of the questions that she said she specifically asked. What are you looking to do? Like, what's your end game? Okay. Because she's like, you meet a lot of people and they're like, I want to replace my income, right? Like, I want to earn $50,000. I need to, So the first question, what are you looking to do? What's the end game? And then like zip it, like let them talk. Like, and again, they can still feel like they're prospecting you. You're asking them, like, what are you most passionate about your business? Like, what is your vision for this? And then what do you need to make? Like, what is your end goal? Like, income wise? And she's like, I asked them flat out, what are they trying to make? And then how much have they earned to date? Because you're trying to get to know them and you're trying to understand the viability of their opportunity. And other questions you can ask, like, what was their highest month to date? What's their average month? How many people are on their team? And then this question I think is so important. What is going to happen to cause the expansive growth you need? Right? Like, how are they going to get from I'm making $100 a month to replacing their six-figure income? What do they feel like is that opportunity for them? And she said, all along the way, I'm offering suggestions, input, information, creating value, right? Because if they start to believe that then actually you're the expert, and a lot of times she's like, they're going to ask you back. So she's like, imagine, you know, like somebody who feels like they're building a huge, massive business in another network marketing company and they're making $1,000 a month, and you come back and say, my largest month to date has been 20, or whatever it looks like, or my leader's biggest month's been 20. And she basically said, the key question that she asked is, do you have someone in your upline reaching down to help you reach your goals? Because she said the number one thing that she finds is that people don't have the support they need, and that is her differentiating factor. Like for her, that is where it's at. She knows that if somebody were to join her, she's going to give them the support they need. And so it's being so interested in where they're at and where their process is, and then offering feedback along the way. Like she's like, I'll provide people resources. Like, you know, maybe maybe they've never heard of GoPro. Maybe they need to get to a general network marketing event. Maybe they need to build their skill set on X, Y, and Z. And she's like, I'm very like out with people, like skill sets are transferable. Like she's like, that's a line she uses a lot of times. Skill sets are transferable. So like learn the skill sets. But you guys, at no point in time is she like blatantly going, my comp plan is better than your comp plan. She's literally being so interested in what they have and what they have going on and providing the value that will help them, that she's like, if they leave and they're going to go and do their network marketing business their own way, she's like, absolutely, I've connected with them on social media so they can follow my journey. And she's like, and I've left them with something good, because she's like, if they ever decide to leave that network marketing company, I want to be the person they think of. And I think that is so like such a powerful reminder that sometimes we can give people like 30 minutes of our time just to leave a little bit of value along the way. So I thought that was a really powerful teaching in the way that she kind of lays out how to value proposition. And, you know, like she's like, you can do that in any industry. She's like, if I meet somebody else that's doing online marketing, or maybe they have a brick and mortar business, she's like, how can I connect them with a resource that they might need? Or how can I share a networking group that's worked really well for me? And she's like, all of that is building trust. And she's like, everybody wants to jump into like doing an Instagram post and enrolling 10 people. And she's like, this is the nuts and bolts. This is where it's at. This is old school network marketing. This is old school business. Like just flat out, this is business. This is about like, how can you create value to then get value in return? So I think that was really, really important. A couple of other things that I had in my notes that maybe don't specifically align with this, but I think that were good little tidbits that she shared, which is she tells people, I teach people how to run a virtual franchise, which if you have a business, like if your avatar is in the business world, or you're talking to people with brick and mortar stores, that is something that they can understand. I teach people how to run a virtual franchise, and their franchise fees are $29 a year. Like, and if you've ever talked to anybody that's run a franchise, that's nothing, right? She also says our products are only socially distributed. Our products are only socially distributed. And I think that is an important way to posture what it is that we do. She's like, if people around you are getting hung up in the term network marketing, she's like, you need to talk to them in terms they understand. She's like, her target demographic is like a high-powered corporate woman. They understand the terminology of franchise. And instead of saying it's network marketing, my products are socially distributed, was such a powerful way, I felt like, for her to posture that. Now, she did talk a little bit about, you know, follow-ups and how she handles follow-ups with people. And here's what I'll say about that, is that everything about the way she does her follow-ups has the same tone and posture that she leads with. meaning she isn't trying to mince words. She's like, do I give people grace? Absolutely. Do people still ghost me? Absolutely. All the time. It happens to all of us. And she says that, like, one of the things that she says is like, I know that you told me you were serious about getting started. Is that still the case? You know, and you guys, she's not mincing any words. And like, yes, she's East Coast, and like there is that aspect of like culturally where you can be maybe a little bit more straightforward with people and others. But I just want you to like understand that, one, she still gets ghosted. Every millionaire, successful person in any line of business is being ghosted by people. But it's also okay to like have posture around it. So she would say, like, she said that when she's doing follow-ups, her preferred method for follow-up is voice memo via text. Because, as you guys know, when you voice memo people via text, once they've listened to it, it disappears. So you know that they have heard it because it disappears, right? So she says, like, she will voice memo, and once it disappears, she will wait a couple hours and she'll text and say, hope that came through. So she's like, you got to be a little bit like loud and proud. And she's like, and you have to stop viewing it as like you being annoying. You're not trying to push something on them. She's like, if you've done the work on the front end that you know what their needs are, you know why they need the products, you know why they need the, you know, the business or the opportunity, whatever that looked like in that initial conversation, you should not feel bad about doing the follow-up. Again, the thematic of it all, the Kathy Cooper meeting, her training, it's posture. And I don't know about you guys, but when I held the mirror up to myself that weekend, I was like, I have work to do. I have work to do because I want to give people grace and space and love on them. And her point was, are you really loving on them by giving them more space to waver in their own decisions? And she's like, it's not about the sale. It's about that we know that we can serve them. But if we aren't showing up confident, they need us. They need us to be confident so they can say yes. And when we show up less than, they're wavering in their belief that they can do it, that this will work for them, that it's worthy of their investment, that it's worthy of their time. So it's not even all like about the product or any of that. It's like our posture is needed to give them the confidence that they need to say yes to themselves or whatever roadblocks are working through in their own head. Does anybody have any questions? I feel like I dumped a lot on you guys today.
I just think that this is so good. And what I kind of wanted to just, while you were speaking, I was just thinking about, you know, you guys who are actually showing up and you guys who are leaders. I've seen a lot of you be leaders in the group. And those of you who are watching the recording, same thing, you're getting on the recording, like whether you're driving in the car or whatever. I just want to commend you for showing up every day in your business. But also, I want you guys to see what Julie did here. This was not rocket science. She listened to a leader who went before her and did something, and she basically took notes and reiterated them back to you. So I want you to understand, as a leader, if you're not learning and growing, and the biggest part is doing, so taking what we're learning right here and actually going and doing, that's the missing link. But I want you to know that you guys are all leaders, and you are capable of leading a call. You are capable of, leading a training of some sort. So don't just diminish it to just something like, oh, well, me, Julia, Christina, whatever, do these things. You guys are capable of doing them too, and showing up maybe even in the business group or product group, whatever, and go live about what you learned or write about what you learned on these calls, and how you're implementing them. And it'll challenge the rest of the people in those groups. Oh my gosh, I know Tasha does this all the time. She's showing up in there and saying, I did this. Yeah, Jessica Wiltshire and I were just talking about this way back in the day when Kelly and Danny and Kayla would post in the group, or someone else would say, hey, I just went and did this. yeah, there may be people not commenting, but it made us realize, oh my gosh, they did that. I could do that too. So they went to their gym and set up. I could do that too. And we would go do that. So it's going to breed that community and that almost like that, not competition, but like, posture for other people to say, oh, if she can do that, I can do that too. And it's encouraging. So I want to say, keep up doing that, Tasha, and everybody else. Comment in the group and say what you're doing or what Julie said in here. Go ahead and take those things that she said and apply them. And I want you guys to share how you're doing that in the group.
Yeah. And I think that you make such a good point, Meredith, that like, you guys, I'm still learning what it means to be a leader, what it means to show up even on the days that it's hard. And, you know, it's not always easy, like to like come in and like train, like, and do all, you feel like you got to create content and all that stuff. Like if you listen to a podcast that inspires you into any amount of action, like raise your hand and say like, I want to lead Monday's call and talk about this amazing Eric Worre podcast that I listened to, or this amazing John Maxwell call I listened to that like changed my life. That's all, like, right? Like I'm just looking through my notes and even not doing that super well, right? Like it's so basic, but like that's how we learn from each other though, is like to say like, oh my gosh, she said I teach people how to run a virtual franchise, and my like mind blew. I was like, you know, I mean, it's just, and that is how we all learn, is that we continue to decide we're going to show up just to learn. And then when you hear something that literally, it makes you even make the smallest little pivot in your life, or it makes you just decide to send one more message or do one more launch party, you need to share that, because if it's creating that kind of action for you, it will do that for other people. Absolutely. So the couple of things I will say that like my biggest takeaways from, number one, posture matters, you guys. And like, there are days where like literally yesterday, I can't believe I'm going to admit this, and Meredith's going to post this somewhere and it's going to be here forever. But I will say, like, I had a call with a girl and she wanted me to talk to her fiance, and I had a great call with her on Friday. It was amazing. She's an amazing woman. And they wanted to talk about the products, and she wanted a call with me and my husband, Dan. And I was not feeling it, you guys. Like, I was not feeling it. I wanted to lay in bed, and I was just having a down day. And you know what? I was like, nope, I got to get up and do it. And like, there are just those times where like, you don't want to do it, and you have to keep showing up, and posture matters. If I had gotten onto that call and I was like, yeah, you know, I understand that you're looking for protein. You know what I mean? Like, no, people need you to show up with energy. So you have to do the Tony Robbins, like change your state and get on there. So that was like my number one between Kathy Cooper and Jessica Rigner. Posture is everything. If you can't do that yourself, if you're not there, if you don't have that level of confidence, you got to pull somebody in who can do that for you. And then 2 is like, how can you continue to create value for people? I want you to think about this on your social media also. I know that we've talked about this on other calls too, which is like, how can you create so much value for people that people are just naturally attracted to you? That they're like, wow, she's just like so willing to share what she knows. And I will tell you that I belong to this amazing networking group here. And it's hard for me to show up because I've met with several of the women who don't believe that network marketing is like a real business. And they are very honest about it. And one of the women, I went to coffee with her, and she said, honestly, Julie, the reason I have such a bad taste for network marketers is, she's like, they come into networking groups and their sole goal is how they can enroll every person in the networking group. And she's like, they've missed the point. The point of a networking group is to make deep, meaningful connections so that when they meet somebody who you can serve, they then give you the lead. And vice versa, that you take the time to understand their business so that when you see somebody that might need what they have to offer, you refer back to them. And I was thinking about that during that Jessica Rigner piece, because it's all about creating value. You can do that with other network marketers. It's likely to generate leads for you. You can do that on your social media. That's likely to generate leads for you. But think about, instead of like this scarcity around, you know, you got to join my team if you want all the inside scoop. It's like, how can you ask the right questions and create value? And then the last one was that Jim Cooper comment to use in welcome calls, which was, why did you join Kathy's team? I mean, if you're doing any three-way calls, three-way messages, especially at the welcome call phase or maybe at like the day 10 phase, I think that's just a powerful question to ask. That will help you identify where you're differentiating, like where is your superpower? And I'm telling you, people that have enrolled with every single person on this call, you have very individual strengths that I could not even begin to possess. Like Christina, Tasha, like Marquis, Rachel, Laura, Meredith, like you have such strengths that I could never even begin to probably have. And you don't even know that you have them. So how can we use your current customer base to help you identify why it is that they're attracted to what it is that you're doing? Why are they interested in doing business with you? They can get protein shakes up and down the dial. Why do they want to do business with you? And when you start to identify, you will know exactly how to market yourself. You'll know exactly how to call in your tribe because you'll know exactly why that is. And my last soapbox moment is if you are not doing welcome calls, if you are not doing three-way messages, I get it. People don't want to be on the phone anymore. And Jessica Rigner said this too, that hers are almost exclusively all happening in Facebook messaging now. And she's now that Instagram allows voice memos, she's like, we're doing them there now. But she's like, people don't want to get on the phone. That's fine. But the relevance of a three-way like message call is still there. And if you're not doing it, you're missing a piece of the puzzle that's so, so important, you guys. So if you're not doing that, please, please, please consider going back to that. And if you are looking for some foundational information about why that is and how to do it, like you can feel free to reach out to me. So anyway, that's what I have for you guys.
I so agree with that. And I want to say I can actually pinpoint the people who I think would have stayed if I would have connected with them with someone specific. They left almost immediately after their 30-day, whereas they wanted to do the business, but never was connected with someone who would almost like encourage them to and connect. Yeah. We have to be going back to that, even if it's later down the road saying, oh my gosh, I need you to hear their story. It's amazing. And it's in a three-way message. And I got to actually hear one of Jessica Rigner's three-way messages that she did with another Rodan and Fields girl who ended up coming into Isagenix. So she does them and it's all posture. I did want to say something. Those of you who are watching the recording, you did miss something in the beginning that we did not record. So those of you who get on live, you are treated with some special things that, we will share that's not recorded. And at the end of this, I'm going to just stop the recording here in a second. And I want to open it up to you guys if there's anything that you want to ask, because I do know how important community is and for your voice to be heard. So Julie, thank you so much for all of your goodness that you gave us. And let's stop the recording and open it up.